Um, I'm reading tonight mostly from this book I put together. Oh, it's backwards on the screen. Okay. Um, it's mostly poems that I wrote about my mother and father after they both died within a couple of years of each other, about 13 or 14 years ago. They both lived into their 90s. So there's nothing intergalactical about this stuff. It's all familia stuff. Anyway, this first one, the deer hunters. They hunt deer from a place called the farm, which my uncle, the owner, called the poor farm. My cousin called the deer hunting a family tradition. I only knew it from the complaints of my mother, who described my aunt as working too hard, feeding everyone, the terrible weather, and so on. They hunt deer in a remote town in central Wisconsin. Only my cousin lives there now. If anyone bought this house, it would have to be torn down, but I loved it when I was a kid. Old and white framed, near a pond, with a barn full of, even then, antique tractors and tools. They grew Christmas trees to make money, but my uncle gambled at the Indian casino to the point where my cousin hid the deed to the house. She was afraid he would sign it away. They seemed like happy people, not like us. Working in the restaurant, Raddus Restaurant, at the intersection of two highways. When they closed for the day, we'd go in and make milkshakes and play the jukebox. I thought they had all this fun all the time, but my cousin told me she remembered it was so great when we came up there. Finding this out, we were both about 60. The deer hunting, an extension of it, and I missed it, not eager for a family get-together, which could be a nightmare. I'd like to go up one more time and see the house before it's sold, before it's one more dream I've missed. The deer hunting becomes the deer in the headlights, and I'm struck by the loneliness of this figure in the night. And the study. I saw the ad on the Muni bus. Volunteers with schizophrenia needed. A hospital conducting a paid study asking for schizophrenics aged 18 to 75. So I called the next day. The woman said there would be an EEG and an MRI, and blood would be drawn. She asked questions about my family history and when I'd been diagnosed. When I hung up, I thought, gee, this might be $140, $160. But she left a voicemail the next day. They didn't have a study for me. I was disappointed. It would have been the first time schizophrenia paid off. And this is another poem about my father, Dandelion Dreams, Roland David Raddus. Dead, but not dead in my head. One of 8, his dad died when he was 14. Not an easy life. His father owned a hotel and bar, and it was fun to be there. But this dad didn't want his children to go to high school, but they did. And they went to college, too. The hotel is still there in Shawano, Wisconsin, right next to the railroad tracks. In college, my dad met Joe McCarthy. One day, seeing my dad shivering in the cold Wisconsin winter, Joe McCarthy gave him his good wool overcoat. That was before he started drinking, my dad said. In retrospect, everything seems golden, but always the yard work, the green grass of home, all of the dandelions dug up one at a time. We had the only lawn in the neighborhood without the bothersome yellow dots on it. Underneath the green grass of home, the steak dinner on Saturday, the rib roast on Sunday, watching every football game in the universe. The grass is humming, Roland. It's running where you are with your lawnmower. Where is the guy with the fish stories? Where is the guy who sat in a chair in the driveway, baseball cap on, saying hello to everyone, whether he knew them or not? When we went out to eat, as the food was served, he would say, "This is where friendship ceases." As his children, we always cringed, but his grandchildren just roared, calling it a Rolandism. Or when he visited my then boyfriend's place on a hill in Sausalito, redwood, the epitome of California something. Talking about the construction, he said, "I wouldn't give you a wooden nickel for it." Another Rolandism. And the myth we all believed, till Mom punctured it just last year, that you stayed out of World War II because of a spot on your lungs. You were training to be a pilot, and you did the opposite of what the instructor told you to do. You said, because I thought he was kidding. That was the end of that. Dad, you are a smartass. Hey, Rolly, where is this guy? He's 6 feet under the green, green grass of home, waving goodbye to me. And a poem about my mother. We had another scare with my mother this week. So I called Saturday morning and she was baking a lemon pie. She said, I bought 5 lemons and it was too many. 5 lemons, 5 children. Is she speaking in poetic terms or is she just talking about groceries? And the waves. We've been up to the brink with my mother several times in the last 40 years. Tumors, breast cancer, open heart surgeries, congestive heart failure, and now dialysis. The slow motion of dying, like a Japanese wave painting. At the top is the flourish of white caps, and then the whole thing collapses onto itself and eddies around the feet of people poking around on the shore. They're getting their feet wet, but it doesn't matter. Their feet leave prints in the sand and are washed over by blue waves, blue water, then stillness, as someone has died. And this last poem, Sitting in the Dark. I sit in the darkness and wait to see how much of it I can see and if I can make out the colors in it. 3 pictures loom, square clouds above the bed. The lamp sparkles in the darkness, and darkness can just barely see the light. Thank you.